If you can move from idea to launch in 24 hours while your competitors are circling back next quarter, you win.
Wait, hold on. 24 hours? I can't even decide what to have for dinner in 24 hours. And Codie Sanchez wants me to launch a trash hauling empire in a day. I think my neighbors would have a few things to say about that. Okay, Bart, I'm going to be honest. The moment she mentioned that guy, Spencer Scott, making $13,000 a month from a Facebook rant about trash without even owning a truck, my jaw hit the floor. It sounds genius, but also like a total legal nightmare. Can you imagine the HOA's face when a guy with no permits shows up to move garbage?
Exactly. And the selling to rich people bit. She says it's less work to sell to them because they just want better, not cheaper. I love the logic, but there's a part of me that thinks, is it really that easy to just walk up to someone in finance and ask for a $10,000 wire?
It feels like she's trying to turn us all into business architects rather than workers. I'm confused how a beginner is supposed to navigate the agentic workflows she's talking about without accidentally building a robot that deletes their bank account.
Hustle Happy Hour!
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Hustle Happy Hour. This is the podcast where two friends sit down, grab a drink, and react to videos from the internet's favorite entrepreneurship gurus.
We're not here to hate, and we're definitely not here to worship. We break down what actually makes sense, what's overhyped, and what might get you into trouble if you follow it blindly.
If you've ever watched a guru and thought, wait, is that really true? You're in the right place.
So pour a drink, pull up a seat, and let's get into today's hustle.
All right, let's dive in. Today we're reacting to a video titled, If I Wanted to Build a Business for $0 in 2026, I'd Do This, by the one and only Codie Sanchez, the founder of Contrarian Thinking.
This clip is blowing up because Codie is essentially telling people to ignore the sexy tech startups and instead look at what she calls boring businesses, stuff like trash hauling, landscaping, and equipment repair. She's claiming that by using her signals framework, you can build massive wealth by selling to the rich and leveraging a massive wave of retiring baby boomers.
It's controversial because she's telling you to sell first, build second, literally taking people's money before you even have a business license. It's a bold mindset shift that's got people either hyper-motivated or calling their lawyers.
Let's unpack this. We're diving into a deep dive today that starts with a truly staggering statement about business failure.
It's one of those stats everyone's heard, but maybe hasn't fully considered.
Exactly. If you listen to the conventional wisdom, the outlook is, well, it's pretty bleak. 65% of all businesses fail within 10 years.
And that number is just terrifying. It's enough to freeze any aspiring entrepreneur right in their tracks.
But here's the core premise of our source material today, and this is what I find so fascinating. What if that statistic, that terrifying number, only really applies if you intentionally choose the wrong kind of business?
I think what stands out to me immediately is, the shift in perspective that requires. This isn't about ignoring risk
No, not at all.
or, hoping you're the one in a million genius. It's about a disciplined, almost data-driven approach to stacking the odds in your favor.
Right. Identifying those high probability success paths, the ones where the math, the actual mathematical reality, is already leaning towards solvency, not, spectacular failure.
Yeah, where you're not swimming upstream from day one.
Precisely. So our mission today is explicitly for you, the listener, who wants to build a successful, a robust, and a cash-flowing business in 2026.
And crucially, without needing that huge pile of initial cash.
Exactly. We are approaching this without the prerequisite of needing tens of millions in capital or having some kind of, unicorn-level technical talent. This is about pragmatic wealth building.
It's about being smart, not just glamorous.
We are going to strategically steal the homework, so to speak, of successful, quiet builders, the ones who don't make the headlines but consistently, year after year, just make money.
And we have a pretty comprehensive framework to analyze. It's a 7-point strategic blueprint synthesized from the source material. It's known as Signals.
Signals, I like that.
And it's designed to navigate, the turbulent economic waters of the mid-2020s by focusing on some really key areas.
Like what?
Well, it's all about demographic shifts, technological leverage, and, maybe most importantly, where the real recurring cash flow is actually moving in the economy.
Instead of just chasing whatever is trendy this week.
Exactly. It's about getting away from those ephemeral trends.
And that really defines our analysis today. Solvency over sexiness. Every single time. We're going to be synthesizing data, spotting market patterns that suggest stability, and real opportunity.
So I think we should just jump right in.
Let's do it. Let's jump into the first two letters of this framework, starting with the one element that, well, it determines victory in the short term.
Speed.
The first S in signals stands for speed. And the source material argues that in the current business landscape, and especially looking ahead to 2026, your greatest strategic advantage isn't your talent.
And it's definitely not your funding.
No, it's certainly not endless funding. It is sheer velocity.
Velocity is the ultimate market lever. And it's because it allows for that rapid iteration. It minimizes the time and, more importantly, the capital you commit before you actually get market validation.
So you know if it's a good idea before you're in too deep.
Exactly. In today's hyper-competitive environment, a lot of competitors, they're just paralyzed by bureaucracy, by analysis paralysis, or just the fear of not having a perfect execution. Speed just exploits that paralysis.
To achieve this kind of, radical velocity, the source suggests adopting a framework that's actually borrowed from the military.
Right, the Odie loop.
The legendary Odie loop, which they simplify for business as the UDA loop: observe, orient, decide, act. But the core idea here is audacious.
It really is.
Moving from a fully fledged idea to an actual launch in just 24 hours.
It's a complete inversion of traditional business planning. Traditional planning dictates that you secure every single piece of infrastructure first.
All the permits, the leases, the inventory.
All of it, before you even think about opening the doors. The UDA loop, on the other hand, it mandates action. And in a digital context, that action is all about validation.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice?
Well, if you can launch a functional validation test while your competitor is still, circulating a 40-page business plan for review,
You've already won.
you have already won the first and most critical battle, which is proving that people actually want what you're selling.
And the story they use to illustrate this is so powerful because it relates to one of those, unsexy, necessary service businesses we're going to talk a lot about today.
The Spencer Scott anecdote.
Yes, Spencer Scott and his trash hauling venture. It just completely demolishes the idea that you need millions for infrastructure first.
It really does, because conventionally, starting a trash collection business is an enormous capital drain.
You're talking about trucks, right?
You need to finance heavy equipment. We're talking specialized garbage trucks that can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars each.
Plus insurance, permits.
Oh yeah, insurance, environmental permits, labor, specialized maintenance facilities. The list just goes on and on. Spencer just skipped all of that.
He didn't wait. Instead, he just recognized the core pain point in his community.
Which is key.
He leveraged the speed of simple digital tools and, this is important, the emotional power of genuine community frustration. He went onto a local platform, I think it was Facebook in this case.
Right, a local community group.
And he posted what was essentially a passionate, almost viral rant about how bad the service was from the incumbent trash company. But he didn't just stop at complaining.
And that's the crucial part. Nestled right there, beneath that highly visible community frustration, was a direct link. A link to a pre-sale sign-up page.
For a service that didn't exist.
Exactly. He was selling a service that, technically did not exist yet. The infrastructure, the trucks, the drivers, the permits, that was all a future liability, not a prerequisite for validation.
And this rapid, low-friction, high-emotion approach resulted in, just staggering, immediate financial validation.
He had the idea, he built a simple landing page, probably took him an afternoon using something like Ebflow setup Stripe for payments, and hit post.
The entire cycle, from idea to launch, was maybe 24 hours. And the result? He secured $13,000 in monthly recurring revenue.
MRR. That's the holy grail.
$13,000 in MRR before he bought his first truck. Before he got any of those expensive licenses.
He was just using proven market psychology and these incredibly low-cost digital assets. Webflow gives you a professional website without a developer. Stripe handles all the recurring payments and security seamlessly.
And he was smart about it, too. He offered referral incentives.
He did. Like, sign up for 5 months, you get a branded t-shirt. Sign up for 10, you get 3 months free.
Which turned his first customers into a free sales force for him.
Exactly. It mobilized them.
So the core mandate here is sell first and build second. It just completely shifts the risk. But let me challenge this a bit.
Hmm.
Isn't there a real legal or, reputational risk in pre-selling a service that doesn't actually exist?
That's a great question. And it's the essential trade-off, which is why transparency, even at that speed, matters so much.
So he wasn't promising pickup tomorrow.
No, of course not. He was selling a future service based on this immediate, very real dissatisfaction with the existing option. The mitigation comes in two forms.
Okay.
First, you have to be crystal clear in your communication about the projected start date. And second, you keep your capital expenditure at basically zero until that MRR proves solvency,
So you're mitigating the capital risk.
which is far more existential than the reputational risk of a slight delay. The alternative is spending 6 figures to start a business that maybe nobody actually wants.
That reframes the risk profile entirely. So for you, the listener, even if you're starting a non-tech service-based business like, I don't know, specialized pool maintenance or mobile car detailing, you can apply this UDA loop by creating an irresistible, simple online offer today, not in 3 months after you get your business cards and branded vans printed.
Speed means rapid experimentation. It means getting real money from real customers right now.
Okay, so speed wins the sprint. Now, the I in signals industry selection, that determines the long-term survival rate. And this is where we have to tackle those dire failure statistics head on.
Right. If 65% or even up to 90%, depending on the study, of businesses fail in 10 years, you have to start looking at the sectors that just defy those odds.
This is the strategic pivot. It's moving away from, pure entrepreneurial ambition and more towards like an actuarial analysis.
That's a great way to put it. You're looking for sectors where the inherent economic structure actually stacks the odds in your favor.
Regardless of how boring the work might sound.
Exactly, regardless of the glamour.
So let's dive into the contrast the data presents. If you start an information business, a trendy blog, a new social app, an online course.
Something with that massive glamour and potential upside.
Right. The 10-year survival rate is a shocking 29%.
Which is just awful.
Statistically, you are almost guaranteed to fail. The source rightly labels that a business F grade.
And now you compare that with the unsexy sectors.
Like manufacturing and agriculture. Industries that involve dirt, tools, infrastructure.
Those boast a 49% survival rate over the same period.
Almost 50-50.
It's essentially 50-50 odds, which is dramatically better than the 1 in 3 or worse chance you have in those glamorous, info-driven industries.
This really defines the core strategy then. We need to forget the idea of a glamorous life change and just obsess over solvency.
Solvency, it's not a sexy word, but it's the most important one.
We're talking about businesses built on consistent, necessary friction in the economy. Businesses that deal with lawnmowers, power washers, specialized industrial cleaning, home maintenance.
And the stability of these businesses is further evidenced by a really fascinating insight about their existing owners.
The age of the owner.
Exactly. The source notes this inverse relationship. The older the current owner, the more likely the underlying business model is fundamentally solvent.
Walk us through the implication of that. Why does the age of the owner matter so much?
It suggests long-term financial durability. These older operators, often without sophisticated digital marketing or modern efficiencies.
They're running on a landline and a paper ledger.
Pretty much. And they've still managed to keep the lights on and generate positive cash flow for decades. They've done it purely by meeting a consistent, necessary demand.
So they've proven the viability of the model through sheer longevity.
Precisely. The business itself is inherently stable. It's not dependent on, fleeting consumer trends or VC hype cycles.
The why behind the solvency is critical then.
It is. Maintenance, basic infrastructure, service provision, these are mandatory expenses for homeowners and businesses in any economic climate.
Your roof still leaks, your plumbing still backs up.
Your factory floor still needs cleaning, whether the stock market is up or down. These businesses are insulated from those discretionary spending cuts.
Which makes them inherently more stable and therefore statistically a better place to allocate your time and your capital.
It just requires overcoming that psychological barrier of choosing boring. But boring means stable cash flow.
That's a powerful distinction. So speed gets you launched, but the right industry selection ensures you actually survive past that first decade. Let's move to the G in signals now. Generational transfer. This is perhaps the most unique strategic opportunity of the next 5 to 10 years.
The boomer exit.
The boomer exit. And it's not an incremental trend. This is a seismic demographic and financial shift.
The scale of this transfer is It's almost unimaginable. We're currently observing a massive generational wealth transfer totaling over $7 trillion.
$7 trillion.
For the motivated buyer, this shift creates a window of opportunity unlike anything we've seen since, the post-war industrial boom.
Let's lay out the hard numbers that quantify this. Every single day, 10,000 people are reaching retirement age in the United States.
Every day.
And a substantial portion of those retirees, we're talking 8 to 10%, are small business owners.
So we're talking about thousands of viable, cash-flowing businesses hitting the market every single week, looking for a successor.
And the demographic concentration here is key. 41% of all small business owners are boomers.
And if you expand that definition a bit, it's 52% of all business owners are currently near or at retirement age.
This cohort, they represent the backbone of that unsexy service and maintenance economy we were just talking about.
They're the ones running the plumbing companies, the landscaping businesses, the repair shops.
And here is the real gap, the gap that generates the profit. 40% of these retiring business owners have no formal exit plan.
None. They haven't prepared the business for sale. They haven't formalized the processes. They definitely haven't marketed it through professional brokers.
And that lack of planning creates a massive market inefficiency.
And a massive opportunity for the motivated, prepared buyer.
The beauty of this opportunity is that the businesses themselves are often proven cash-flowing entities. They've been around for 20 or 30 years.
But they're typically run like a high-paying job by the owner, not like a scalable enterprise that's ready for a private equity acquisition.
What's the difference?
They just lack that rapid growth profile and the polished balance sheets that attract those large PE funds. They're too small, too messy.
So they're overlooked by the sophisticated institutional money.
Completely. Which makes them perfect targets for an individual buyer. These businesses offer a path to step in, immediately acquire a six-figure income stream, and then scale what the original owner successfully validated.
But if I play devil's advocate here, what's the single biggest risk a buyer faces when they acquire one of these aged businesses run like a job?
That's the key question.
Sure.
The primary risk is the reliance on the owner's personal relationships and their tacit knowledge.
So everything is in their head.
Everything.
Sure.
If the owner is the entire sales force, the technical expert, and the relationship manager, that business has tremendous key man risk.
So what do you do about that?
The buyer has to dedicate significant effort during the transition period, we're talking 6 to 12 months, to formalize those processes and relationships. You have to turn the owner's brain into a documented system.
And if you fail to transfer that knowledge,
The cash flow dries up fast.
that makes perfect sense. Now, let's talk about the financial mechanism. These acquisitions aren't often all cash deals, right? How does that stewardship factor and the lack of an exit plan play into the financing?
It creates a powerfully favorable scenario for what's called seller financing.
So the seller becomes the bank.
In a way, yes. Since many of these retiring owners don't want to just close the business, they care deeply about their employees, their legacy in the community. That stewardship factor is huge.
Right.
They're often willing to finance a significant portion of the sale themselves. This means the buyer avoids having to go get massive commercial bank loans.
So the business's future cash flow pays for the acquisition itself.
Exactly. It turns a high barrier to entry acquisition into a low capital one, provided the buyer can present a credible plan to maintain the business's integrity.
And that links back perfectly to the industry selection. The unsexy maintenance and service sectors are precisely where you find these emotionally invested older owners.
Creating these high opportunity targets for acquisition and then modernization and scaling.
Which brings us to the N, needs-based cash flow. And the strategic mantra here is simple, but it's vital. Follow the cash, not the headlines.
You have to actively filter out the noise from the trendy sectors. The latest social media app, the volatile crypto play, the influencers selling whatever miracle gut gummies are trending this month.
The real structural money, it moves silently and reliably through necessary transactions. The source calls them the Songhurst matrix industries.
Focusing on things like equipment repair, industrial maintenance, and landscaping. They're not exciting, but they represent persistent, non-discretionary spending.
It's that paradox of sexiness again, but analyzed economically. The sexier the business, the higher the failure rate, and often the lower the overall profit pool.
We talked about actors versus electricians. 90% of actors struggle to afford basic union dues.
Whereas 100% of qualified electricians are consistently getting paid for essential, complex services. The perceived value and the necessity are just inverted relative to the glamour.
And this is a function of essential friction in the economy. Things break, things wear out, and maintenance is deferred until it becomes absolutely mandatory. This creates a guaranteed demand.
But let's go deeper on the demographic shifts that are supporting this demand because they are structural and really irreversible.
Right. The demand for these services isn't just stable, it's structurally guaranteed to grow in these necessary sectors.
Look at the data. In household maintenance, the population segment age 60 and older outnumbers the under 30 demographic by 2 to 1.
2 to 1. And the 65-plus age group is the fastest growing cohort requiring equipment repair services.
This creates an enormous, consistently aging, high net worth client base that increasingly lacks the ability or even just the desire to perform these services themselves.
They need reliable, outsourced maintenance. It's a need, not a want.
And this structural demand, it offers a massive competitive advantage simply through modernization.
This is the leverage point.
If you're acquiring a business from an owner in their late 60s or 70s, their business is likely running on a landline, paper invoices, and a scheduling system built on, I don't know, sticky notes.
Bringing a 2026 mindset to that 1996 business model is the entire play. You introduce a modern CRM, online payment processing, automated scheduling, clear, professional digital communication.
And you instantly stand out.
Dramatically. You're not competing on price anymore. You're competing on convenience and professionalism, which, as we'll see, is the key to selling to the affluent.
It's infinitely easier to disrupt a local market by implementing a modern scheduling app for a septic tank service than it is to compete in the saturated app store.
Infinitely. And just a quick practical note on this modernization, credibility. The source highlights that even when you're moving at that UDA loop speed we talked about, you still have to look legitimate.
Right. First impressions matter.
And since all the good .com domains are gone, securing a clean, professional alternative, maybe a .online domain for 99 cents for the first year, instantly bypasses that initial barrier of looking amateurish.
Without needing a $5,000 branding exercise.
You look professional now for $1.
So to recap, we target structural needs, we leverage these massive demographic exits, and we apply minimal modern technology for massive differentiation.
That's the playbook.
That moves us to affluent clients. This is the letter that shifts the focus from what you sell to who you sell it to.
And the strategy is very direct. It's out to rich people.
Why?
They pay more, and counterintuitively, they are often less work and less demanding than your price-sensitive clientele.
But this requires the entrepreneur to first break through a powerful psychological barrier the source calls wallet share.
This is a big one. Most entrepreneurs subconsciously limit their pricing because they're projecting their own financial reality onto their potential high-net-worth clients.
They can't fathom charging $2,000 for a custom engraving.
Or $100,000 a year for a private chef.
Yeah.
So they price themselves for the masses instead.
And this self-imposed limitation results in most people underpricing their services by, 30% to 300%?
Easily. They are fundamentally misunderstanding the spending elasticity and the priorities of the affluent class.
The strategic importance of this choice is anchored in the context of the K-shaped economy, which is maybe the most crucial piece of macroeconomic context for 2026 entrepreneurship.
Absolutely essential to understand.
So explain that K-shaped recovery analysis for us in detail.
So the K-shaped recovery, it describes an economy where the top earners and asset owners, that's the upper leg of the K, they recovered rapidly and continued to accumulate wealth during and after recent economic disruptions.
While the bottom half,
The lower leg of the K, they stagnated or declined, largely due to inflation and stagnant wages.
and we have hard data on this, top earners now account for over 50% of U.S. consumer spending.
Over half. That is the pivotal insight. Inflation is squeezing the lower half, shrinking their disposable income, making them extremely price-sensitive and, frankly, demanding.
So if you're seeking predictable, high-margin cash flow, you must target the insulated segment.
The finance workers, the advanced degree holders, the residents of high-wealth areas, it's a pragmatic mathematical choice.
Now, some might say that raises questions of social fairness.
It might, but the goal here in this framework is maximizing profit and achieving solvency. And targeting this resilient demographic just offers the highest probability of consistent high-ticket sales.
And selling to this group, it fundamentally changes the sales dynamic. Affluent clients aren't looking for the cheapest option.
No, they're seeking better service, ultimate convenience, high quality, and once they decide they want it, the payment flow is entirely different.
How so?
They just want the problem solved seamlessly. They send the wire transfer quickly, often without the need for multiple follow-ups or the complex negotiations that just plague lower-tier service providers.
That's the difference between competing for the $99 mass market lawn mowing service.
And selling a customized year-long $10,000 commercial landscaping package that includes snow removal and bespoke maintenance.
The first client demands perfection and complains about the price.
The second demands seamless discretion and pays instantly for the convenience.
The challenge then is understanding how to charge those higher prices. How do you convince that affluent client that your service is better?
And that's where the source introduces the rich desire pyramid. It's the 5 core reasons affluent clients buy, and it's used to teach thousands of business owners how to command these premium prices.
Okay, so this pyramid moves entirely away from cost-based pricing.
Completely. If you structure your offerings to satisfy these 5 levers, you're pricing based on the value delivered to their ego, their time, and their status. You're never competing on the cost of your materials.
Let's unpack the 5 levers. Let's start at the foundation: scarcity.
Rich clients buy things when there's not a lot of it available. It's the simple economic principle applied to luxury goods, like a limited edition designer handbag.
Okay, but how does this apply to an unsexy service like maintenance or repair? You can't run out of plumbing repairs.
You manufacture perceived scarcity, what the source calls fake scarcity.
Give me an example.
For a landscaping or specialized repair service, this means you say, we only accept 5 new, highly personalized residential clients per quarter. Or, due to our commitment to exclusivity, we only offer 100 spots in our executive-level maintenance subscription.
So you're selling the difficulty of accessing your service.
Which increases its desirability exponentially.
Okay, moving up the pyramid. The second layer is privacy.
This is the desire for protection, for discretion, for isolation. This is massive in the affluent world, whether it is private security or choosing a remote home.
And in the context of unsexy services, this is a gold mine.
It really is. A high-end home maintenance company specializing in, say, pest control or specialized cleaning, they might charge a premium to guarantee absolute discretion.
How? Unmarked vans.
Unmarked vans. They schedule during non-peak hours. They guarantee 0 interaction with the neighbors. The client is paying extras. Their problems are protected and isolated from public view.
Okay, third lever, exclusivity. This is about being part of a special club, a privileged group.
Think beyond just country clubs. For small business, this could be an inner circle repair membership.
So if you run an equipment repair business,
You offer an elite tier that guarantees same-day service, specific dedicated phone lines, priority access to specialized parts. The cost is high, but the status of being in the club is the actual product, not just the repair service.
the fourth point, and this is huge for those K-shaped economy beneficiaries, convenience and time.
They value their time far, far more than your money.
And they're willing to pay astronomical sums to reclaim that time.
This is why services like concierge medicine exist, costing $10,000 a month. Applied to our sectors, it means an on-demand premium car detailing service that comes to their isolated garage and does the work while the client is on a conference call.
It's the ultimate removal of friction.
The higher the price, the fewer hours the client has to spend even thinking about the problem.
And finally, at the apex of the pyramid is the ultimate driver: status.
People will pay more for public recognition than for almost any other benefit.
So status is the external manifestation of their success.
It's why people fund entire university buildings just to get their name etched in stone. For you, the entrepreneur, this means positioning your service as an indicator of their wealth and their taste.
So if you run a high-end contracting business,
Their decision to hire you must reflect positively on their judgment and their standing among their peers. Your product has to be visibly superior or associated with other high-status brands. Understanding that humans pay the most for these status games allows for incredible pricing elasticity.
okay, so we have our strategy. Unsexy, high cash flow industry, targeting affluent clients at premium prices. Now we have to address how we get noticed. So we move to L for leverage, specifically through distribution.
And the mandate here is unequivocal. You must build distribution first. You must own an audience.
This mandate, it's a direct response to the modern digital landscape, isn't it?
Absolutely. AI has democratized product creation. It is easier than ever to build a minimum viable product. But because it's easier to build,
The bottleneck has shifted.
it has shifted entirely to attention. Getting people to stop scrolling and pay attention to your product is now the hardest, most expensive part of the business.
The data on this is compelling. Global daily media consumption is at an all-time high. Usage across the major social platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, is growing across almost every age cohort.
We are swimming in an ocean of content, and breaking through is just brutally competitive.
And that competitiveness is measured in customer acquisition cost or CAC.
Right. And the source material shows that CAC has risen 3 to 5 times since 2014. It is simply exponentially more expensive now to buy your way into a customer's consciousness via digital ads than it was a decade ago.
That brings us to the crucial contrast between renting attention and owning attention.
Renting attention is running ads.
Yeah.
You are paying a significant tax to the platform owners like Zuckerberg or Google.
And when you start paying,
Your audience vanishes. Poof.
owning attention, conversely, is building a compounding asset.
This means building an email list, a successful YouTube channel, or a highly engaged proprietary audience that you control and can communicate with directly.
The source quotes a friend who said, "Every startup now needs a founding content creator."
And they're absolutely correct. Given the CAC reality, you need someone focused on audience leverage, not just product functionality.
Let's analyze the channel ROI data. Why are pay-per-click and display ads becoming such a heavy tax?
The complexity and the cost of the bidding environment have just soared. Facebook and other platforms are now so saturated that the effective cost per impression is incredibly high.
To the point where
To the point where, in some niches, targeted Facebook ads can actually be more expensive and less effective than traditional television advertising, especially with the rise of connected TV.
Yet the data pinpoints YouTube as having the highest return on investment for customer acquisition. Why does YouTube stand out in this competitive landscape?
Because YouTube is fundamentally a search and long-form intent platform.
Meaning
Meaning when someone searches for best way to maintain a commercial lawnmower or how to fix a leaky septic system, they are demonstrating high intent and a specific need.
they're looking for a solution right now.
Exactly. And by providing valuable content, explaining the service, demonstrating your expertise, you capture that high-intent lead at a much lower cost than just interrupting someone's social feed with an ad.
Video builds trust and authority faster.
Faster than any other medium, which is essential when you're selling high-ticket services to affluent clients. They need to trust you.
And the cost is often even lower if you're B2B, selling your specialized landscaping or equipment repair service to another company.
Yeah, because B2B audiences are highly focused and easier to target with professional educational content.
So the takeaway for you, the listener, is strategic. Distribution is your moat. If you are starting or acquiring a business, you have to dedicate resources to audience building first.
You solve the distribution problem. The entire business becomes significantly easier and less dependent on those expensive rented marketing channels.
That brings us to the final S in signals, systems and AI first. The mandate here is that you must architect your business to be AI first, not AI eventually.
We are so far beyond using large language models like ChatGPT just to polish an email. The opportunity lies in architecting AI-powered businesses that generate cash flow.
This involves integrating AI into the core workflows, automating the tedious, high-volume tasks that human employees typically hate.
Or that owners run manually, wasting their own time.
Yeah.
This frees up human effort for the high-value interpersonal moments we'll discuss next.
Let's use the detailed example of the Resi Brands franchise. It's a perfect illustration of taking AI to the next level. AI programmatic SEO.
Right.
How does that translate into a massive scalable marketing advantage for an unsexy service business?
So Resi Brands, they operate these large trade franchises. They recognize that local SEO being the top result when someone searches painter in Tuscaloosa.
Or window cleaning in Piedmont, North Dakota.
Exactly. That is essential. So instead of manually building thousands of local websites, their AI system programmatically generates custom, highly localized websites at scale.
So these sites look like they were bespoke built for that tiny location.
Exactly. They incorporate local landmarks, local slang, specific hyperlocal service offerings. The result is a massive dominant marketing engine. They just overwhelm the local search results because they can generate a high-quality site for every single micro-location instantly.
A feat that would be impossible or cost millions using manual human effort.
But where the business application gets truly strategic is in these sophisticated agentic workflows.
Okay, what is that?
It's where AI acts as a sophisticated troubleshooting robot within the service business itself.
This is essential. So walk us through a scenario. A newly acquired equipment repair business uses this agentic workflow to handle a customer service ticket for a complex industrial vacuum cleaner failure.
Absolutely. The goal is to minimize human interaction until it is absolutely necessary. So first, understand the problem. A customer reports the vacuum is sputtering. The AI agent, it doesn't just read the ticket.
It does more.
It immediately queries the customer history and the specific model. It asks clarifying questions. Is the machine making a grinding noise or a humming noise? When was the last time the filter was changed? It gathers data just like a human technician, but instantly.
Okay, what's step 2?
Step 2 is execute diagnostic steps. Based on those answers, the AI initiates internal non-customer-facing checks. It pings the equipment's API for error codes, it cross-references recent repair logs for that model, and it checks local parts inventory.
So it's gathering all the intel.
All of it, prioritizing potential fixes. Then you have adaptive tool use. If the AI determines the problem is likely a simple filter blockage, it can call the inventory system API to automatically reserve a replacement filter, and then call the scheduling API to suggest an immediate technician visit.
All without a human touching anything.
Correct. And it can iterate based on results. If the customer reports back, no, I just changed the filter, the AI dynamically adjusts its approach. It moves to the next highest probability, maybe checking the fuel line pressure remotely if the machine allows that.
It's not a rigid script.
It's a dynamic learning system. And finally, finalize and learn. If the AI resolves the issue, it logs the solution, making the whole system smarter for next time. If it can't fix it, it generates a concise report for the human technician.
What would that report say?
Something like, technician, this is a fuel line pressure issue. I have exhausted steps A, B, and C. A new filter is reserved. Dispatch immediately with this diagnostic report.
That is a game changer for efficiency. It means the human technician isn't wasting time on initial diagnosis, travel, paperwork.
They're only deployed for the complex revenue-generating repair itself.
The strategic takeaway is clear then. The AI should handle every task people despise.
AI-powered sales quotes, automated customer dispatch, initial troubleshooting, repetitive data entry. You architect the business around this efficiency to drive margins higher in these low-glamour sectors.
After architecting all of this impressive AI efficiency, we arrive at a really compelling counter-trend that connects everything. The human game. The source argues that as technology makes everything easier, faster, and more automated, the scarcer the human touch becomes.
The more premium and valuable it is.
It's about competitive advantage in a world that's saturated by bots. We are seeing quantifiable data that interpersonal sales and communication skills are, well, they're plummeting.
Especially among younger workers, who often default to texting because it feels safer, easier, lower friction than a phone call or face-to-face interaction.
But that creates a paradox in the high-stakes moments. The easier the communication method, text, email, and automated form, the less effective it is for complex problem-solving, for negotiation, for relationship building.
The effectiveness in generating high-value transactions is inversely proportional to the ease of communication.
Think about that moment you're trying to close that $10,000 commercial landscaping deal with the affluent client.
That client is paying a premium for convenience and trust. You need to be able to look them in the eye, anticipate their unspoken needs, and build real rapport. An AI quote system can't do that.
The future prediction is compelling. As AI handles 95% of routine transactions, people will pay a substantial premium just to talk to a competent, genuinely engaged human for the remaining 5%.
Imagine our high-end, AI-enabled restaurant scenario. The robots have handled the seating, the ordering, the payment, but you, the customer, have a highly specific, complex request.
Like, I need the salmon pan-seared for exactly 4 minutes on each side, no more, no less, and served with the sauce on the side.
Exactly. If the automated system glitches or fails to confirm that complexity with true understanding, you immediately hit a wall of frustration.
You will pay extra, you'll tip extra, just to have a human step in, look you in the eye, and confirm that the magic of that personalized complex service is happening.
This ability to connect, to negotiate, to assure the customer, that is the ACE card for modern entrepreneurs, especially in the service economy.
The synthesis here is powerful. The entrepreneur must strategically insert humans into the business loop only where that interpersonal connection, complex negotiation, or that moment of customer magic is required.
You leverage AI for scale and efficiency, and you use human connection for premium pricing and customer loyalty. This dual strategy maximizes both your margins and the perceived value of your service.
To conclude this comprehensive framework, the source encourages a deep moment of reflection. Before you pursue any of these strategies, you need to ask the final existential question, borrowing from Ralph Waldo Emerson: what do you want your obituary to say?
And this transcends mere quarterly returns or the size of a business valuation. It forces you, the entrepreneur, to think about long-term sustainability and meaning. Are you building something that requires your presence to exist, or something that will endure and enrich others after you're gone?
The Warren Buffett quote on stewardship perfectly frames this idea. The measure of our success is not just in returns, but in stewardship. When I die, does this thing continue after me?
The goal isn't to chase a high-risk, headline-grabbing unicorn that will burn out in 5 years.
No.
The goal, particularly when you're leveraging generational transfer in those stable, unsexy industries, is to build a predictable, cash-flowing entity that tells a story and continues operating.
It requires commitment, resilience, and the willingness to do the hard, detailed work. The work that is often hard and impossible.
Because that's what creates lasting stability and value.
Let's synthesize the entire Signals framework one last time as a unified, cohesive strategy for the listener who is ready to execute.
The Signals framework is your strategic map for navigating 2026. First, speed. Commit to hypervelocity with a UDA loop. Sell first, build second. Validate demand in 24 hours.
Second, industry. Ignore glamour. Choose high-probability, high-survival sectors like maintenance and repair, where consistent friction guarantees necessary demand.
Third, generational transfer. Leverage the boomer exit, that $7 trillion wealth transfer, by targeting solvent, cash-flowing businesses that are overlooked by private equity and open to seller financing.
Fourth, needs-based cash. Focus relentlessly on consistent cash flow in these necessary sectors, which are supported by overwhelming demographic demand from aging populations.
Fifth, affluent clients. Direct all your sales efforts toward the economically insulated segment of the K-shaped economy. Use the rich desire pyramid to command premium pricing that is 30% to 300% higher than the mass market.
Sixth, leverage. Build distribution and audience first. Use platforms like YouTube to own attention and counteract the soaring costs of customer acquisition.
And finally, seventh, systems. Architect the business around AI using sophisticated agentic workflows. Automate diagnosis, dispatch, and tedious tasks, reserving human effort only for high-value connection and complex problem resolution.
So the central theme is undeniably clear. In 2026, the path to building resilient wealth and becoming a genuine millionaire is not through chasing the glamorous, high-failure rate startups that define Silicon Valley. It's about a cold, calculated strategy. You chase predictable, necessary cash flow in overlooked, essential industries. You play the quiet game really loudly, leveraging technology to amplify services that people actually need.
And that leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to carry forward and mull over based on all this source material.
Okay, let's hear it.
Given the demographic certainty of the boomer exit, the financial reality of the K-shaped economy, and the increasing cost of organic growth, is the most profitable and high-probability path to successful entrepreneurship in the next 5 years. Focus less on pure creation and innovation of new products, and far more on the strategic acquisition, modernization, and optimization of existing, proven, solvent businesses.
That is a question that requires some serious consideration before you spend your next 24 hours. I found a few gems in the comments. Here's a supportive one. Finally, someone tells us to stop chasing AI startups and start looking at the businesses that actually keep the world running. Buying a laundromat sounds way better than building an app no one wants.
And here's a skeptical one. Codie makes it sound so easy to buy a business with $0. Show me the boomer who's going to hand over the keys to $1 million company to a kid with a 99-cent domain name and no experience. Honestly, fair point.
And the unhinged/funny one. I tried the 24-hour launch for my pet rock walking service, and my neighbor threatened to call the cops. Instructions unclear. Now I have a record but no recurring revenue.
So Lisa, what's the final verdict? Is this good advice, situational, or pure hype?
I'd say it's situational advice with a high logic score. The data about the boomer exit and the K-shaped economy is undeniable. But the execution, the sell without a license and fake scarcity, is where the hustle hype creeps in.
Agreed. It's a great strategic map, but you need to bring your own legal compass. Don't just move fast and break things if the thing you're breaking is the law.
That's it for today's session at Hustle Happy Hour. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who's undercharging for their time.
Check out our other videos where we deconstruct more guru gems and traps. And hey, if there's a video you want us to react to next, drop it in the comments.
Until next time, keep the hustle real and keep the drinks cold. Cheers.
Hustle happy hour.